You're listening to the Tony and Josh Show.
Hey, welcome to the episode 42 of the Tony and Josh pre-show. If you're not familiar with the show and how it works, basically we start about 15 minutes before showtime. Josh and I get on here and talk about what's going to be on the show, and I'll just make sure the show notes are as we like them and there's no misunderstandings, because nobody likes misunderstandings during a live show. Well, sometimes they can be pretty funny. Anyway, sit back. You'll hear Josh and I talking here in a moment whenever he calls in via Skype. And, well, that's kind of what's going on. I think we have a good show for you tonight, and I think you're going to enjoy it. Good evening, Josh.
Howdy-ho.
I have figured out what the mystery of the ever-changing Skype volume is, and it's not Skype's fault.
Whose fault is it? Who can we blame?
It's mine.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to be very un-Obama-ish and take the blame and say that the reason why the audio changes is because it is I'm taking the output of the computer system and feeding it back to you so you can hear everything that's going on. So it's going back the output of I noticed this because I was listening to the show last week on from YouTube, and whenever I'm talking about dropping the volume down so it's not so loud on your side, I hear the volume drop off by 50% on the recording.
Oh.
So I'm actually changing the volume that's going out not only to you, but to YouTube. So what I have to do is I got to figure out a way to get another output and send it to the Skype input that you use, and then I'll be able to adjust the volume going to you. I'm feeding the entire output to you. I have to do some more thinking about it, and there may be a schematic drawing and several cups of coffee involved.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm thinking either another USB device or potentially even another mixer.
Well, there's plenty of USB devices. The problem is getting the right output that still contains all the other show stuff that's mixed to you. I mean, it'd be pretty simple just to take my output, at least I think, and send it to you where you could just hear me, but then you'd miss the rest of the show.
Yeah, true.
I got to find an output here that I can send over to you. I've got two outputs. I've got one that I still have labeled Ustream. That's actually the YouTube one, and then I have the one for the Roland. I hate to split either one of those. Anyway, anyway, I know what it is, and I just have to sit down and figure out how to do it where I can control the volume. Because keep in mind, the Skype is on a separate USB device. It's the outputs of the mixer.
Okay.
More fun in the pre-show for you guys that join us in the pre-show or listen to the pre-show on our YouTube recording. All right, I'm going to get the doors closed and the hot lights on, and I'll be right back.
All right.
Okay, I had to readjust the camera stuff so that I could get out of the single man stage from XJ Talk last week. Oh, I don't know if you want to talk about it on the live pre-show, but how's the father-in-law doing?
He is still in the hospital, probably is going to be for some time. He had a laundry list of injuries, and the least of which is the compound fracture of the humerus, the upper arm, right below the ball where it rests in the socket of the shoulder. Is basically a compound fracture right below the ball. And that tore a gash in his arm several inches long, bone sticking through the flesh. And they've already got screws and plates in there now. They did one surgery the end of last week, and they're going to do another surgery, I guess, to continue to put stuff back in where it should be. I don't know. I mean, there's probably some ligaments or cartilage that has to be sewn or reattached. I'm sure there's muscle tissue that's going to have to be sewn together somehow, fused back together. I don't know exactly. So he's got a long road to haul as far as that goes. And I imagine a boatload of physical therapy to go along with that. He's got a couple of broken ribs in two places. Well, it's a break in two places, and then another fracture in two places or another fracture in one place on two ribs. So he's having a very difficult time, breathing normally, and of course that is causing his saturated O2 levels to drop below what they consider a healthy rate or a healthy level. Right. And so they're doing a lot of stuff as far as that's concerned, and he's got lots of bangs and bruises and scrapes that they're having to deal with on a nearly daily, if not hourly basis, because things can't scab up too much, because then he starts to wince and things crack open and stuff like that. His face he's got a big lesion on his face and stuff like that. So I mean, he's in pretty bad shape.
Helmet or no helmet?
He was wearing a helmet. But when he hit so hard that it basically cracked the face shield open, and he's a bigger guy, and so his face kind of pushed into the opening a little bit, and the concrete came up. And the helmet it saved his life, but it didn't do much more than that. But
that's a lot.
That's a lot. That's what they're supposed to do. So, all things considered, he's lucky. He's very lucky. I think it could have been a lot worse. So, but he's very disgruntled.
Wouldn't you be?
He doesn't like being sequestered and stuff. He's horribly uncomfortable. He's in a ton of pain. And so, I mean, every time we go up there, and we're going up there on a daily basis and seeing him and stuff, he wants his sodas. He wants to chew again. But of course the doctors aren't letting him. Yeah, you can't do that. We're trying to get you healthy here, and he wants his sodas more than anything, the Diet Mountain Dew and Diet Pepsi. So
I remember this may not be a fit thing as far as genetically hygienic, but I think there must be some science behind it. I remember I scabbed up my knee when I was young, 6, 7, 8 years old. I don't remember. Really, really bad. It reminds me of what you're talking about as far as it cracking and, keeping you from a range of motion. Anyway, and you can imagine a kid that was outside every day, and believe it or not, I was outside every day, 7, 8 years old. That knee was kind of hard to use, all scabbed up like that. Huge, probably at least a 4 or 5 inch diameter, big scabbing thing. And I don't know why, but you know how those things itch? As they start to heal?
Itches, it means it's healing.
Yeah. And so anyway, there was a stray dog, and he came up and started licking my knee, and good Lord, it felt good.
Yeah, I figured a cat with a sandpaper tongue. Feel good.
No, it was too tender for that. But boy, the dog licking it, and it felt good. And it healed up real quick. I think there was some some antibacterial stuff in that saliva. My wife also winces like that when I tell this story to the kids. Not only was it a dog that was licking your wound, it was a stray dog.
And then he went home, and the master, let him kiss it in the mouth or something like that.
it brings back fond memories. That felt so good. It was itchy, and it wasn't too much of a scratch. It was just enough.
Real quick, do you remember what you had done to scrape up your knee like that?
I have no idea. It wasn't unusual for me to just bang the hell out of myself. I've got I never broke a bone, but lots of stitches.
Yeah, this hand alone, my left hand alone, has had more stitches than all of my friends, war stories combined can produce. So I've tried to cut this thumb off twice, not on purpose, of course, but that's a story for another show.
It's amazing you didn't take shop teaching as a profession instead.
I've been doing this for 5 years.
All right. Well, is my little idea there about the free form thing? If we need a filler, I figure we can just talk about something on the news. Warning, if it's mine, it may be political.
I'd say let's go with it. Let's keep it to 5 minutes. Let's open with that after we go through the rest of this the stuff here in the top of the show notes.
Oh, the free form? No, I meant do the free form if we need the filler at the end.
Oh, okay.
Or if it looks like we're going to need the filler, if you wanted to end with a certain story, we could, just open up into the filler if we need the time, and then we'll do whatever story it was that you wanted to do at the end. I know you like to try to bring the show to a conclusion on a funny.
Well, I like the order that we've got here. The whole underwear story, I think, is a great one. So,
thank God I found some more copy on that, because I had nothing until I looked tonight that I found all that.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm glad that I told a coworker today what one of the stories was going to be tonight, and he just put his head in his hands, shaking it and laughing.
Oh, cool.
So, which way do you want to go as far as you want to go with the filler at the end, or do you have a show that you want a segment that you want at the end?
We'll do the filler at the end.
Okay.
The underwear story, I think, is good enough to end on. That's just fine. And I mean, and if it ends up coming up short, then we'll throw the free form. What's pissing us off? We can always you can take the political route, and then I'll just sit here and make crack wise.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, things that came to mind just to get your brain working was we have a Ebola, the first Ebola virus. Am I saying that? I'm saying it like a Texan. Ebola.
Yeah, right.
The first Ebola infection in the United States ever. And what the hell did we tell you people about bringing those people from Africa back to the States? I know they're not linked, but still, I think I can rant about it. And of course, the other thing is the whole deal with the intelligence being thrown under the bus by President Obi.
Now that I don't know anything. I don't know nothing about that.
I'll tell you real quick. 60 Minutes did a interview with President Obama this Sunday. And he said that the failure for them to know that this big thing was going to happen with ISIS was because intelligence didn't tell him. In other words, he didn't know.
Plausible deniability.
No, it hasn't been plausible for 6 years. So anyway, I got a couple of things like that, and yeah. All right. So if we're ready, I'll get her rolling, and we'll get this pig moving.
Yeah, let's do it.
Warning. The opinions, ideas, views, emotions, and temper tantrums expressed or otherwise conveyed on the Tony and Josh Show may not and most likely is not suitable for all audiences and therefore should not be heard by anyone unless supervised by an appropriate nanny state. Enjoy!
Welcome to the Tony and Josh Show. If you like silly humor, bad puns, tech, science, and the occasional story that crosses your moral boundaries, then you need to stick around. Now here they are, Tony and Josh.
Well, I must say you were woefully late on that wave, Josh. There was like a 30-second delay between my wave and yours. I mean, come on, man. Get with the program.
Gonna have to one of these days. You got like an inside joke here, guys. A little running gag that Tony and I have going on. I can't see him. He can see me. I have no idea who is waving or what, and so I just throw a hand up there every now and again willy-nilly, and we'll see what happens.
if you guys hear me say wave, that's what that's all about, is giving him a clue to when it's time to wave. Hey, this is episode 42. Hey, if you're new to the Tony and Josh Show, we're here to inform, entertain, and give you a laugh or two. Well, at least roll your eyes a bit. We've searched the interwebs and found these earth-shaking stories to bring you tonight.
Oh, we've got edible underwear. Well, first it was edible underwear, and now it's this. We are absolutely dying to choke up this hairball story for you, and you may now spank it at will, just not at will.
Oh, gee. So tell me, Josh, I know that animals get fur balls whenever they lick their fur. You don't have any fur. Where do you get your hairball from?
Well, I've got this thing where I have to lick walls and windows and anything that I can, and the occasional hairball will cough up.
Lead paint is the most flavorful.
Oh,
I'm just kidding, kids. Don't eat lead paint. It's not good for you.
Or the paint chips.
The paint chips, no, that's why it was a joke.
Yeah, taste is okay, though.
Eat
as much as you can.
The good stuff, the Elmer's paste, because it's the same thing that Jell-O's made out of, right? Oh, now we're gonna get sued by Jell-O.
Yeah, right. No name brand. Well, so before we get first story, guys, you can give us a call live to join in on the show live. You can use this number, 267-507-0240, and because we are so special, like a short bus, you need a special code to get in and hook up with us. That is 219-835. You guys can also tweet us during the show at Tony and Josh Show, or you can watch the show live and chat with us live over at TonyandJosh.com.
Yeah. Come over there. Our little chat room is working perfectly now. It actually updates whenever you hit the enter, so everybody gets to see what you typed in. It's amazing. I can't imagine somebody putting together a free piece of software that doesn't work. Can you, Josh?
Yeah, I know. No comment.
All righty. So, Josh, I don't know about you, but I feel kind of boxed in sometimes whenever I want to relieve some stress, and I can't. So, is there anything we can do about that?
You can go to the beach. As long as you are in Sweden, then you can release all the tension you want. What I'm getting at, folks, is public masturbation okay? It is in Sweden. Certainly not anywhere here in the U.S., but a Swedish court ruled this week that masturbating in public is okay, so long as it's not directed at anyone. The ruling came after a man was charged with sexual assault for masturbating on a beach at a local tourist destination. The scene was hard to look at. The 65-year-old man removed his shorts and started pleasuring himself as he got closer to the water. I mean, come on. Who could blame him, right? Those waves, the sand. I mean, come on. The ocean is one hot. Anyways, you'd think someone would have yelled at him to beat it. But if they did, I think either way, the elderly gentleman heeded their instructions. Anyways, the man was acquitted, and the ruling stated that it may be proven that the man exposed himself and masturbated on this occasion, but it wasn't a crime because he wasn't pleasuring himself towards a specific person. For this to be a criminal offense, it is required that the sexual molestation be directed towards one or more people. I think the court's judgment is reasonable. The prosecutor told the Swedish newspaper, "With that, we can conclude that it is okay to masturbate on the beach. The act, however, may be considered to be disorderly conduct." So keep that in mind the next time you get the urge to do the five-knuckle shuffle down on the sand. It makes me want to wonder now if that was really sea foam I saw the last time I was at the coast.
There wasn't anything in there about him right-handed, left-handed, maybe switching hands.
Switch hitter. I'm going with that.
You never can tell whenever you may throw an arm out. If you've ever played baseball, especially if you pitched, you may have to change up. So the thing that gets me about this as a parent and an adult, I'm not going to want my kid to see this going on the beach. And there certainly should be something that I, as a parent, should be able to do about somebody doing something like this. It should be a crime, and I should be able to stop it, just like not just call the police. I should be able to. This is like an assault on my children, and I should be able to stop it, I think.
Well, it'd certainly be an assault on their eyes and their innocence, Tony. Yep. The one thing that you could do would be to bring a blindfold to the beach with you next time. I'm kidding.
Yeah, I don't know. I understand that it's everybody's right to do things that they want to do until it impinges upon my rights. At least that's the way it is here in the United States. But I hate the thought of pushing down a 65-year-old man, and you never can tell. He may be into that sort of thing. It may just make it worse.
Security. No, I mean, this guy goes up and, he's dipping his toes in the surf and starts, fapping to the slapping of the waves. And, one thing leads to another. You get a little excited. You got to take care of some business while you're out on the coast. So I don't know. I mean, the Swedes are some interesting people, and they certainly have some interesting laws. And this, of course, proves that, well, just about anything is possible when you're, across the pond, as it were.
Yeah, it's like the 60s over there, isn't it? It's free love, free drugs, free prostitution. Well, not free prostitution, but legal prostitution.
Lots of chocolate.
I guess it ain't all bad. That is the Sweden we're talking about, right?
I don't think it was the other Sweden. I don't know.
No, I was just trying to think if that was Sweden that I was thinking of that had all those open law type things or no laws type things. So I guess that is just normal for that country, and we'll see how it works out for them. Of course, they've been neutral here in the last several wars, so I guess that's working out for them.
Well, something that didn't quite work its way out was the mother of all hairballs. Doctors in Bishkek, Kyrgyzstan, I'm probably butchering that, were stumped when a woman came in with acute abdominal pains and claiming she could no longer eat or drink. It wasn't until the x-rays came back when they made the call. They'd have to go in. During the gruesome surgery, surgeons removed a 9-pound hairball from the stomach of this 18-year-old woman. The ball had developed over years as the woman chewed ends of her hair and ate hair off of the floor. That's right. This brings a new definition to the term carpet muncher. The surgeon said her stomach was so badly swollen from hair and bits of wool from the carpet that it literally just oozed out of her as soon as the wall of the stomach was cut. Well, that paints a pretty picture now, doesn't it, folks? Aside from the hair-eating compulsion that caused her to become severely malnourished, the woman was completely healthy. Think of that the next time you want to go on a diet, folks. The compulsion to eat human hair can result in the development of Rapunzel syndrome, however, a condition where the ball develops a tail that clogs the lower intestines. I mean, that's got to go through a lot of tube to get down there. Anyways, the woman was lucky it hadn't gotten that bad. She is now recovering at home and promises to refrain from chewing her hair in the future. Right. Maybe she will, maybe she won't. But I suggest her husband start shaving the carpet. You know what I mean. And maybe get her a chew toy as well.
Oh, gee. I'm perfectly fine with having a dog lick my wounds on my knee when I was a kid, but that grosses me out. I'm thinking about the world's biggest zit whenever they cut open that stomach,
Yeah, no, I've seen some pretty gruesome stuff on YouTube, but there's a term that I use quite frequently when I go out to lunch with some of the guys at work and end up eating a bunch of fried food or something. I come back and I'm kind of holding my gut and I'm like, oh geez, that's sitting like a bag of wet hair.
Until now, and you'll never say it again.
I think I'm going to use that one ever again.
A bag of wet hair without the bag. I was thinking when you were talking about the hair, wiggling its way down the poop down to the poop chute, that I'm thinking, okay, they've got the hairball out. It's still attached because it's going through the bottom of the stomach down into the upper intestines, and no telling how far it may go in that tail. But anyway, they're pulling it out, and they're doing well until it gets caught on something.
Tug.
Oh, God. Oh, it's just horrible.
And can you imagine? Look, I mean, we all know that burning hair smells absolutely horrible. There's probably not a worse stench than the smell of burning hair. It's instantly recognizable and everything like. I mean, you can imagine the smell of what it was like when that tissue
with all
was
that
cut,
stomach acid, hair and stomach acid mix, and I would imagine. I'm a little surprised the stomach acid just doesn't dissolve the hell out of that hair. Hair doesn't seem to be that resilient to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously she must have been going at it for quite a long time, and they said for probably years she was at munching the carpet, as it were. So I don't know. It's they what is it called, Pike's disease or something like that? People eat dirt and pennies and nails and glass and whatever else. I'm sure that she's got some form of that caused her to do this.
The interesting thing I found about the story, and you didn't mention it, is her name was Hoover.
Oh, jeez, Tony. Her last name was Dyson.
Yeah, make sure we spread the advertisement. Oh, my God, that's horrible, Josh. You're a very bad person. Where'd you find this, anyway?
Deep in the annals of the interwebs.
Well, speaking of deep in the annals, let's see if you can figure out what this story is all about. And this is from the Hot 97.5 website. So anyway, see if you can guess what this is. These are the instructions that come with this item. Attach double-sided tape to one side of disposable pad. Use other side of double-sided tape to secure to your underwear. Insert pad with narrow side facing front. Anything?
Okay. So I mean, this sounds familiar. I mean, I think that I've understood a lot of what goes on some of the aisles of grocery stores to say that this is definitely, without exception, instructions for what we call sanitary napkins or maxi pads or those sort of things. Am I right?
Well, believe it or not, this can be used by both sexes. So it's not a sanitary napkin. So anyway, if you guessed a personal fart deodorizer, or at least a change in odorizer, you guessed correctly. Yes, it's an underwear patch to make your smarts, not very smarts, your farts smell like mint.
Oh, boy.
After many years and thanks to the collaboration of the world's best scientific researchers, there has been a revolution this year, the underwear patch. This greatest invention of the 21st century is a patch placed inside the underwear which filters any unpleasant odors to a nice mint smell. Why didn't we think about this before? Why didn't we think about this, Josh? We could have patented this.
Seriously, especially around some of those tailgating, crock pots of homemade chili. They're floating around some of the stadiums. Boy, you know that they've got to need these things.
Hey, I personally have used these things, and since I've been using them, especially the mint filter, people at work have started holding the elevator doors for me. They'll actually let me on the elevator instead of just hitting that button. No.
Oh, here comes Tony, that minty fresh guy.
He smells like mint. I don't know. Is that a new, not deodorant, is that a new cologne you're wearing?
Right.
Bubblegum you're chewing? Well, I'm chewing bubblegum, but it's not what you think. So anyway, this Flagellant's deodorizer is disposable and has activated charcoal cloth pad and is worn taped inside the underwear next to the buttocks. The wearer is virtually unaware of its presence. I don't know about you, Josh, but I'd be aware because it's thin and comfortable inside the undergarment. The activated carbon cloth pad is disposable, so you can throw it away after the use. Thank God.
We don't need to be
I don't want to use it to make tea. What the hell?
Hey, Tony, smell this. Does it think it's got any life left in it?
Yeah, that's exactly what the single guys would do way back when we didn't have women to straighten us up. This is good for another month.
Right? Just turn it inside out.
Yeah, exactly. It's good, two uses. So anyway, the Flagellant's deodorizer will not be effective with boxer-type underwear. Do not use your toilet for disposal. This is the classic thing here. For external use only.
Yes.
Do not insert.
Yeah.
Do not eat like you would hair, and do not insert like you would, I don't know. End your fear of embarrassment when in public with Flat D Flagellants Deodorizer. When intestinal gas is expelled, the flagellants filter pad absorbs the gas odor normally associated with the gassy discharge, or flatus. I never knew that word. Those with digestive disorders such as IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, lactose intolerance, diabetes, my favorite, spastic colon. That would be a great name for a R-rated film. Crohn's disease, colitis, menstrual odors. Hey, there we go back to the sanitary napkin. Will gain confidence and end embarrassment, live life again, and enjoy the freedom with this inconspicuous pad.
I don't know.
No more smelly episodes, horrible flagellant odors with these pads are placed in your undergarments or panties. The flagellants deodorizer is like having a charcoal underwear and will eliminate your gas odors. There is no cure for flagellants, other than exploding, I guess. But the simple solution for absorbing odor is a simple solution for absorbing odor at its source. Hey, I'm sure mint is only the beginning here. I can well imagine ice-cold wintergreen for, relief after those big Mexican meals.
Oh, good. Oh, my goodness. Yes, I work with a guy who's lactose intolerant, and he'll do some crop dusting every now and again. And, I work in an open office, and so he'll just walk by the design department and just
he's snickering
the room. No, he knows he keeps it very stealthy, and it's you really don't know that you've been attacked until he's the other side of the building, and then it hits you like a bag of wet hair.
Well, it probably keeps the nose hairs down. You don't have to worry about trimming them this much.
So we've got mint right now. I'm thinking thinking some more desirable flavors or scents flavors scents coming up. It's some cologne favorites. Some eau de toilette of sorts.
Well, I mean, what if you're a morning person? I think a nice premium roast coffee smell might be good. I don't see you carrying any coffee, but I have a hankering.
Right? Bacon is going to find its way in here sooner or later.
Oh, bacon. When you said bubble gum, I thought about the old saying that makes my ass chew bubble gum, and that would be completely different.
Wrigley's tried this with their double mint suppository back in the 70s, but it didn't catch on.
Oh, that would burn your ass, wouldn't it? And and what about a smell for the weekend, like smells from the beach?
Oh, there you go. Yeah. I would imagine that nacho cheese would not be very far behind.
That's funny. Hey, it just dawned on me because the first story, smells from the beach, might be a bad thing, depending on who you're standing around.
Yeah, as long as they don't get consultation from Sweden, I think we'll be okay.
Is that the beach I smell? Is that the beach I smell? Rip. Speck, back, 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 back.
It's funny. Real quick, I mentioned bacon just a little while ago. It reminded me of a story that I don't have in the show notes, but I almost put it in here because it's so weird and wacky. There's this thing called like the Ig Nobel Awards or something like that. And this guy from Michigan has his team over at Michigan State University or something like that. They did all the testing and posted up articles as proper as they could that bacon, uncured, uncooked bacon shoved up the nose can actually legitimately stop a nose. It's true. Weird and wild, useless facts, folks, right here on the Tony and Josh Show.
What a horrible waste of bacon.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, well, hey, tissue works just as good. I mean, if you're in a tight spot, go get yourself, some tampons or something. Or hey, one of these charcoal maxi pads. But no, raw bacon shoved up the nose. It's not exactly my first choice. And I've got to imagine there's got to be some, trichinosis warnings in there or something like that. Salmonella, I don't know. But either way, raw bacon in the nose to stop nose bleeding. Next, we've got bacon-flavored underwear, or scented.
That trichinosis, that's the parasite that infects swine meat, isn't it?
I believe so.
So I had heard something recently, and you guys don't go out there and start devouring raw bacon or pork chops, But I've heard that because pigs are raised in not a pristine environment, but a non-rural environment, at least not wild, that the chances of them getting this parasite are very, very low now. So that
interesting.
Yeah, so that now that you really don't have to worry about cooking the pork to a certain temperature to make sure that any parasites are killed. But anyway, I had heard that some years ago now, so I don't know if it's true or not. So check that out before you start eating your raw bacon. I don't know if I don't know about you, Josh, but I like my bacon cooked. Even especially the fatty parts. I don't like anything that looks like it just came out of the animal.
Yeah, no, not so much. I've been toying around with this idea that I see these at the grocery store every now and again. It's called like ends and pieces or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's just a bag of bacon parts.
Well, they use that for flavoring, and you get that for green beans and a lot of the Southern cooking that puts bacon in everything. I love green beans with bacon. My wife makes, I think they're called ranchero beans. I'm probably getting it wrong, but it's basically pinto beans with jalapeno, lots of bacon, like a good inch square pieces of bacon in there so that you can almost get a piece of bacon with every bite. And I think some cilantro and it's a Mexican bean recipe, and it's a meal, especially if you got some rice to put that on top of. It is a meal, and it's so good.
Oh man, I'm hungry now.
Yeah, I wish I hadn't eaten it all. And boy, after eating all that stuff, I certainly could have used me some mint underwear filters.
Yeah, right.
So let's do this thing about what's pissing off Tony and Josh. Josh, you want to be pissed off, or I can be pissed off?
Well, why don't you go ahead and get all riled up here, and I'll see if I can't reel us in here in a little bit. So what is pissing Tony off right now?
I told you people, actually we told you people, that bringing people with Ebola from Africa over here and at the cost of millions of dollars wasn't a good idea. Now, I know logically there is no connection between this Ebola infected individual in Dallas, that's near me, and them bringing these people from Africa, or so they say. But I think it's kind of weird that they through some public outcry, they were talking about not bringing why bringing people with Ebola from Africa here to the United States. Why not just treat them where they are, or like I think we actually mentioned, take them to Gitmo.
Yes.
They don't need to be. Are they not watching The Last Ship? I mean, come on. So I think we even mentioned about the CDC guy standing there rolling his eyes, or some doctor rolling his eyes, that nobody's going to get Ebola, nobody's going to catch it. But I find it damn strange that we now have the first Ebola case on U.S. soil that was not necessarily that happened here, but was detected here. It wasn't like detected in Africa and brought here in quarantine. This guy was on a public flight and came over here, and of course now the concerns are, did he did he masturbate at anybody? No, as long as you don't get the bodily fluids or coughing on somebody, and again the bodily fluids, you're not supposed to be able to be infected by Ebola.
Yeah, you can. I guess planes and stuff are safe. It's only with direct contact. I mean, so if you're giving somebody a massage, well, there's a good chance that you could get it. And mind you, only if they are too infected. So I mean, this doesn't transmit like a cold. It doesn't transmit like the flu. And so just breathing on somebody isn't going to infect them. So just being out in public around somebody who's affected, it's not going to happen unless they like sneeze on you, cough something up on you, or start pleasuring themselves upon you, something like that.
Sharing their hair. Here, have a piece of my hair.
It's funny. I've been hearing a lot of jokes about this, and I know it's not really all that funny, but we've got to make light of something so serious, at least a little bit. There's always room for some satire, just like there's always room for Jell-O. But no, and Tony, I know you're from Texas, and I don't know how many of our listeners are football fans, but it's finally it's a football team from Texas is finally catching something. It's Ebola, not the football.
Yeah, well, I think we made the joke here about the meme where they were talking about if there's a tornado watch or tornado warning, go to the Dallas Cowboys stadium because there's never a touchdown there. So
yes.
Boom.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I love those. not a big sports fan. Used to do the sports thing back whenever I was like in my late teens and early 20s, and frankly, the Oilers just pissed me off. And most of Houston was happy when they moved to Tennessee. I think they're called the Titans now.
Right. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. So, I mean, anyways, guys, the Ebola thing, it's nothing really to worry about. We have some kind of a cure, at least. This guy was just carrying it. It was in its 21-day incubation stage. The ambulance that he was transported in is under quarantine right now. He himself is under quarantine. The ambulance personnel imposed quarantine at their own residences. Measures are being taken, everybody. So this shouldn't be, this shouldn't be an outbreak.
Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and ring the terrorism bell because we were caught with our charcoal covered pants and underwear down on 9/11, and I think somebody should be talking about the possibility of people who are more than willing to kill themselves in an attempt to kill scores of others, infecting themselves. And I think we've mentioned it before. Infecting themselves with something, flying into this country, and then infecting as many people as possible. So I would like I'm not going to call this a potential terrorist attack, but I think we ought to make sure that we keep our eyes open and our mouths closed so we don't get any bodily fluids in it, and at least consider this Ebola, the first Ebola detection in the United States, as a warning sign, a possible precursor to something that could happen that we don't want to happen, because we all know that really there is no country on this planet that can come over here and do anything to us in a large way. They can only do gestures of like what they did with the Twin Towers, which was a big deal, and I don't want to belittle that, especially if you lost somebody or know somebody that lost somebody. It's very important. Especially innocent human life is so sad to have lost. But let's look at the numbers: 250 million Americans, 3,000 people killed. The attack on us was very ineffective, especially when you consider what happened to them afterwards.
So, yeah, suitcase bombs, dirty bombs, and I actually heard something from, I think it was the CDC, and they have a division that is specifically targeted towards intelligence and terrorism. And they have ruled out any degree of terrorism with this instance, or at least so they are reporting. But any time something as far as, a dirty bomb, any kind of communicable disease, or any kind of an outbreak starts to flourish or something like that, they are Johnny on the spot with it and digging very deep and getting into the areas that nobody else would really want to go, especially when you're talking about, communicable diseases and viruses and things like that. And so there are people that are on the watch, folks. So this isn't something to start freaking out about, at least at this point. Now, there are many people that this guy came in contact with. They are all going to be under watch and possibly quarantined and stuff like that. Like I said, there's a 21-day incubation period. And so we've got this under wraps, as it were. We'll see how far it ends up going. In any case, guys, don't worry. Just wash your hands and mouth.
Yeah, I'll just remind you guys, though, that we've had 2 acts of terrorism on U.S. soil recently. And the Fort Hood shooting, and then this most recent beheading of somebody in Moore, Oklahoma. And our illustrious federal government is calling both those things workplace violence. Oh. So for God's sake, think for yourself and make sure that you protect yourself and your family. Don't leave it up to the federal government to do it, because they ain't going to do it. It ain't going to happen. They're not going to take care of you. They're going to look after what they can, make sure that they can stay in power and stay and keep a job, and probably have a nice safe place to be in case there is a terrorist attack. So make sure you take care of yourself first and foremost.
Yep, and really quick on some good news as far as terrorism is concerned. Just a few years ago, there was a Christmas tree bomber attempt here in Portland, Oregon. The guy was sentenced today, 30 years in a pound-in-the-butt prison. So he's going away for a long, long time. It's Mahad Mahumajig. I don't remember his name. It's something very Muslim-oriented. Anyways, he's going away for a long time. 30 years. Guys, you do not go away for very long from TonyandJosh.com. Make sure you guys head over there. Join us every Wednesday at 10 p.m. Central for our live show. And make sure you find us over on Facebook as well. Like us there. And, well, guys, make sure you tell a friend as well.
Yeah, I think we got a pretty good show here. And if you agree with us, make sure you tell your friends. We'd love for you to tweet about it or give us a little something on Facebook. And, of course, like Josh was saying, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, even the Google+. I don't think we're on MySpace, Josh. Maybe that's a mistake. We should be getting on MySpace. You remember MySpace?
Yeah, I do remember it. I can't remember the last time I've even heard the term or the word MySpace. So, yeah, you're not going to find us there, guys, but you're going to find us everywhere else, including YouTube.
Yes.
That's right. We are broadcasting live on YouTube every Wednesday as well. So you can find us over there. Find all of our videos and, of course, the entire show archive for your free listening pleasure over at TonyandJosh.com.
And free. It's not like we take a credit card and then you got to cancel within 30 days for it to be free. There's no credit card involved because we only take cash.
And there's very little intelligence involved, too, guys. Join us next week. We'll see you guys for episode 43 of the Tony and Josh Show.
I'm waving. I'm still waving. There we go. Later, guys. Oh, where the hell did my mouse pointer go? There it is. Well, I think the underwear story was a lot more fun than what I thought it's going to be.
Yeah, I knew we could have some fun with that.
I was trying to think of some stuff, and the elevator joke was about the only thing I could come up with, at least until I got the more copy that they had posted today. I don't know why they when they originally posted that story, it was just like half a paragraph and a colorful picture. Which, by the way, they installed the charcoal filter on incorrectly because it was on the outside of the underwear.
Yeah, I noticed that. I was like, well, they must have taken that picture with the underwear inside out or something. I don't know. In any case, yeah, I think it was just for illustrative purposes.
Yeah, because it's hard. You see a guy's buttocks with a feminine napkin stuffed in his in his underwear.
Hey, Fred, you stuffing?
Yeah, because everybody with a girlfriend, a longtime girlfriend, has seen that thing. I guess it's you're getting evidence for the. I'm sorry, honey, and not this time of month, and yeah. I need some evidence. No, I don't want to see it. No. Show me the string, show me the outline. So I personally wouldn't do that because that would be wrong and very misogynistic.
All right, I've got a little bit of a promo script to write up.
Oh, good. I was going to be really impressed whenever you said I've got a promo that I've come up with. I'm like, damn, man, he's doing this stuff during the show now.
Well, I started, I take that part that we've got at the beginning of the show as, kind of our list of stories that we break down, and I take that to use as an outline for the promo here.
Yeah, I was sorry that we didn't see anybody in chat tonight. I think it was Clyde that had joined us last week. Yeah, I see him there at the bottom of the chat. That he joined us last week. I think I sent you a message telling you that he is subscribed to our website after that podcast.
That's cool.
Yeah.
See, folks, all it takes is one.
Well, three.
Well.
Yeah, and the download numbers are up for the Tony and Josh show, and all good kind of things. I guess it's like they say, don't worry about how many listeners or viewers you have. Just put on the best show that you can, and build it, and they will come. Fill up the Pacific or Atlantic basin, and they will come. I was having some fun last night. I think I've told you about this YouTube show called Vaginal Fantasy, and it was the name that kind of clued me on. Actually, it was an actress that I follow on Twitter, and she posted about it, and that's the reason why I saw it. But certainly the name was a grabber, pardon the pun. And what is her name? Felicia Day. Seen her in various things. I think I've seen her on
little redhead chick, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
She's
very
very
podcast or something. Yeah,
yeah, very nerdy. She's been in several. That's not sitcoms. Supernatural. I've seen her in Supernatural, walking by the TV when my daughters are watching that show. I always like to tell them, why do you watch that crap? That's trash. That's not real ghost busting. What are you talking about? Dan, stop. But I've seen her on that, and I've seen her on a few other things. Anyway, she's just kind of nerdy and funny, and I enjoy that kind of humor. So whenever she had posted about this show, Vaginal Fantasy, being on, I went over and watched it, and it's basically these 4 girls, all about the same age, and they read they read some romance novel, and they meet once a month. I think it's the last Tuesday of the month to discuss the book. And I don't read the book. I'm not gonna read the book. I read a book once, most of it, and that's as far as that's going. So, but what I found that was very funny was when they got off topic, and they start talking about this, that, and the other. So I go for that fun whenever they get off topic, because I don't know what they're talking about when it has to do with the book. So so last night was the last Tuesday of the month, and I just happened to be here in front of the computer. I think I was editing one of our interviews for the XJ Talk Show, and I saw Felicia Day tweet about the show coming on, and it comes on at 9 Central Time. And I was like, oh, this is great. I'll actually be able to watch a show live, which means I get to make smart-ass comments. So what I did was I went over there and started, and I thought about it and went, hey, this will be a great opportunity to do live tweeting on a show, but as on Twitter as Tony and Josh, the TonyandJosh.com show. So that's what I did, and I was live tweeting, and I got quite a few little favorites and
cool
retweets and stuff from apparently the all women audience, because I didn't see anything that was favorited or retweeted by a guy, and I'm really surprised, because these girls are funny, and I don't consider it to be. I mean, it's a romance novel, so I guess I understand there's no draw for most guys to watch a show that's talking about romance novels, but these girls are nerdy girls, and they're into Doctor Who and sci-fi, and so it's very interesting from a male perspective. When I say male perspective, I mean there's not really a gender bias between for sci-fi, because obviously these girls like sci-fi, but basically in the past, there has been a gender bias between male sci-fi and female not. So I guess it's one of the reasons why this is fun, because you're watching these nerdy girls or listening to these nerdy girls talk about a romance novel and then go off on a complete Doctor Who tangent. Something they saw in the book that reminded them of an episode of Doctor Who or something. Anyway, a lot of fun. Did a lot of live tweeting last night on it, and perhaps I can do more of that. People seem to enjoy it, so.
Well, that's good. I mean, it also kind of gets the name of Tony and Josh out there, I suppose.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Maybe probably.
How do you spell Epicac?
Oh, gee, you're talking to the wrong person.
Yeah, no, don't worry.
I can usually get it pretty quick. Get pretty close for a spell checker. I found that the Google search is an excellent spell checker.
I never would have guessed it started with an I.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I see as I'm typing this, and I do believe it's an I. Did you get it?
Yeah.
And then what I will do is I will throw some of the words around it, so like use it in a sentence, and then Google will come up with the spelling. So did you get IPECAC?
Yes, I did.
That's amazingly simple. Syrup of Ipecac. Syrup of Ipecac, commonly referred to as Ipecac, is derived from a dried rhizome and roots of Ipecac, blah, 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 blah.
Easy for you to say.
That's all right. I'm a professional. Man drinks Epicac on YouTube.
Oh, that poor bastard.
Used to induce vomiting. I'd still like to know what that special sound or note or series of notes is that can cause you to lose all bodily function.
The brown note. Well, there's it kind of falls into the realm of audio dynamics and resonant frequencies, and everything sort of has its own resonant frequency in which it naturally will vibrate. That's how a singer can, break a crystal glass with just her voice. Mm-hmm. She hits that frequency, that right frequency that starts to vibrate. It hits that resonant frequency of the glass, and the glass starts to vibrate, and it actually just breaks apart.
Yep.
So instead of breaking apart, the theory is that if you hit this brown note, it hits that resonant frequency of your abdominal muscles or your rectal muscles, as it were, and you just sort of void your bowels.
Reminds me of that when you're talking about the lady breaking the glass. Reminds me of that old Steve Martin routine where he says, and the woman was singing from her diaphragm. That must take years of training.
Oh, no.
I think that was on the first album, the first one that I memorized. He did it much better than I did. All right. Well, are we ready to wrap this pig, so to speak?
I've got just a couple more words to type, so yeah, we can call it a night.
All right, guys, we're going to record the promo, which we have to contractually have to do that off the air. We don't actually broadcast the promo out because we just can't. So we're going to wrap this show up and say good night. Thank you very much for joining us. Remember, if we haven't mentioned it enough already, every Wednesday, 10 p.m. Central Time, we'll be here. You can watch us. You can go over to TonyandJosh.com and subscribe there. On any of the posts that you see, you'll see a little place where you can subscribe, and you'll get an email notification for the live show, because we're now posting up the link, the YouTube link, and the chat room right on top of each other, one on top of the other, so that you could just go to TonyandJosh.com and watch and chat with us and other people that are watching the show right there on the site. So, personally, I don't care if you watch us on YouTube or not. That's a cool place to watch us. But I always thought that the neat thing about one of these type of shows was the ability to chat with the folks doing the show and other audience members. So I tried to put something together that we could relive that same type of thing that we used to do on Ustream. So I think we got a pretty good thing going. We just need the people to come and jump in and have a good time. So till next week, I'm Tony.
And I'm Josh.
And you guys have a great week. We'll see you.
Hey, look, I waved.
I didn't see it because I faded out. Were you lying? Because I didn't see it.
No, I really did wave, yeah.